Hi everybody, it is the pumpkin season. So I thought today I'd do a little experiment because I've always had a little bit of uncertainty about pumpkins and squash and as to which is which. So for you I've done a little experiment. Today I went into Aldi and end of October they were selling off lots of their little pumpkins for 49p. I think it was a special deal. So I bought a few and I've roasted them just to test out for you. And here you see the results. We have three different types. We have the green acorn squash, the white acorn squash, and the red onion squash. Apparently these are squash and not pumpkins, although that's how Aldi sell them. But the reason these are not pumpkins is because they grow up high on a vine, whereas pumpkins grow along the ground. And I think it's something to do with the fact that they are tender skinned, so the little bugs and things will get into them if they're on the ground. Anyhow, let's get on with it. So here we go. I roasted them all. First of all, I washed each pumpkin squash and I dried them off, and then I sliced them through. Now I'm going to show you, this is the knife I used to slice them. A great big very sharp knife. I must tell you, that is so important. And some I cut that way and some I cut around the centre. And you would want to rest it on a nice towel so that it doesn't slip, and maybe use a towel to protect your hands as well, because they can put up a fight. I brushed each one with oil and I roasted them flesh side down, so they were facing down like this one. And I left them for about 35 minutes at about 180 and checked them, and they were quite, they were quite yielding, the flesh. I also wanted to see how the seeds roasted as well, because I love pumpkin seeds. I don't eat meat, so pumpkin seeds are a great snack for everybody really. But I just want to see which works and which don't. Right. Let's start with the green acorn squash. So as you can see, I decided that the flesh was medium sweet and the skin nice and tender. And let me just scoop out some for you so that you can see. It looks a bit stringy. It has gone cold now, but it just was a nice taste and texture for doing something savoury. And also these are a great size, because if you only wanted a small amount of squash, then you don't need one of those great big guys. The seeds, these came up really well. They are smallish seeds and they roasted in about 10 or 15 minutes. What I did with all the seeds was I pre-boiled them for about 10 minutes in salted water. Apparently this helps with the flavour, gives them a little more seasoning. So there we go. So both the seeds, my overall view of this one is that both the seeds and the flesh are usable, and it really was my favourite for savoury stuffed dishes. I would use this one a lot, and I definitely would, if you have a bit of garden, I would plant a few of those seeds. And the way to keep them, if you save a few, you can just rinse them off and wrap them in a bit of paper towel and store them for a week or so to get them dry, and then you can transfer them to an envelope and into a plastic tub or something to make sure they stay dry. But just a bit of towel. I think you can probably, I've done it with tomato seeds where I've just wrapped them like this. The tomato seeds have sort of stuck to the paper, and then I've just sewn them straight into the compost. But I don't know if they might be too close together for pumpkins. Right, so then we went on to the white acorn squash, same family. The flesh from this one, I didn't get on so well with this one. It was more stringy. Maybe I cooked it too long because it was smaller, but it did seem quite dry and not as exciting somehow. I seem to leave a few seeds in there as well. I suppose it could look prettier for some dishes. That's the only thing I would say if you were wanting to fill it with something. I mean, it did look good from a caramelising point of view. So it was slightly stringy and dry for me, but it's the first one I've cooked, so maybe I just did it wrong. But the seeds were delicious. They almost, and they both the green acorn squash and the white acorn squash, the seeds went quite quickly to be crispy, and they popped. Lots of them were popping in the oven, and this white acorn squash in particular ended up tasting, had that popcorn taste to it. I don't know if it was just there was just a little drizzle of olive oil on the seeds, but I can't think why they tasted so good. Okay, and the third choice, red onion squash. Now this one, I would say if you wanted pumpkin, if you wanted to make pumpkin pie, it would be fantastic. It really, really is. It's got that fullness of flavour, and the flesh very soft, yielding, squidgy. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's a really full flavoured squash. The seeds were very large. Hang on a minute. Just having a taste. The seeds, huge compared to the other seeds. I didn't get on with roasting those very well. They just went very hard. So I might have been unlucky, but I think definitely the other two varieties, for me, the seeds were great. So yeah, you've got traditional pumpkin flavour, great for spiced sweet dishes and soups, and you might want to save some to grow in the summer as well. You just pop them out next spring into pots, and that should be it. So that's how I got along with those. I found the skin on all of these pumpkins, it had caramelised really well. So I would definitely include, I would eat them right through the skin. You know, if I was using one of these squash to stuff with filling, I would just cut right through it and eat the whole thing. You don't need to save anything. And that's about it really. So maybe you'll try cooking with these. I know lots of people throw them away after Halloween, or they don't know what to do with them. They do look very ornamental as a group, but maybe give them a go. See how you feel about cooking them. I hope you found that useful. Bye for now.